about 2 years since I started my journey as a flight attendant, and it's almost been about 2 years. So my actual anniversary date is not until May, but I'm going to my yearly recurrent training, which is like our yearly refresher, flight attendant refresher. So it kind of prompted this video, so I wanted to go ahead and let y'all know how I'm feeling about being a flight attendant at the top of the year. It's a new year and I am going into my 2 years, so I thought it fit the moment. So just a little recap, I became a flight attendant because I was seeking change. I was working on my previous job for about 3.5, almost 4 years. I was coming up on my 4-year mark and I hated it. Maybe hate is a strong word, but I did not like doing what I was doing. I was over the job. I was burnt out. I was working in mental health, so it was just a lot on me and my mental health, and I wasn't feeling it. So I had been looking for a job that whole year. I set a goal to not even become a flight attendant, but I set a goal to find a new job by my birthday, May 29th. And I wasn't getting any responses back from any of the jobs, nothing. I had applied to every and anything you could think of, customer service, whatever. Like I was overqualified and underqualified. So I wasn't finding anything, and the airlines was the first thing to respond to me. And I honestly think it was fate. It was meant to be. I had been wanting to travel. That was another desire of mine. And I believe that I was supposed to become a flight attendant. Even though I wasn't planning on it, I think I was supposed to do that because it just happened right on time. Everything went so smoothly. It just all worked out and went the best way that it could have went. I went on the interview. I was nervous and I got the job the same day. Even with all my feelings of anxiety, I still got the job, and I was just, really excited to step into something new. Like I said, I was nervous, of course, because being a flight attendant is not a normal job. It's a huge change versus what I was doing, and I knew I was going to take a pay cut. I had heard all the stories, horror stories about being a flight attendant, and I was just really nervous about stepping into that as a career. So like I said, it was never my intentions to become a flight attendant, and I got into this kind of with the mindset like, okay, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to hustle, you're going to have to do some other things. Like, we're not just gonna settle for flight attendant pay. We gotta really get it and grind and find other ways to make a livable income and just be on our stuff. So just to jump into how I'm feeling about the job overall, I made some notes, of course, because we don't want to ramble. We want to get straight to the point. So if y'all see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. But I definitely want to get into how I am feeling overall about this job. Now, like we know, the role of a flight attendant is different from any other job you would ever work. It's similar to a lot of other things, but it's just different. We deal with a whole lot of different stuff, and it's just different. The schedule is different. How we work is different. How we are paid is different. It's just different all across the board. But overall, I have had an amazing experience. I cannot take anything away from this job, anything away from my company or this experience. I have had an amazing experience. Now, that's my personal experience. I feel like I have heard other stories of people not enjoying the job so much, but I think it just depends on you as a person and knowing yourself. So why I say this has been an amazing experience is because I feel like it just was an easy transition. It was easy getting into it for me. No, I didn't plan it, but it was just smooth. So I feel like this job has given me much more than what my previous job allowed me to have. So of course, we talk about the benefits all the time. That's something that I'm really enjoying, but I want to talk about other aspects of the job that I really enjoy. So I am loving the flexibility. I talk about this all the time, and I don't think enough flight attendants stress the flexibility of being a flight attendant. The time that I've had on my hands now, the time that I've had now, I will never have this time if I would have been still at my previous job. And it's just not like a normal 9 to 5. It's just not like a normal 9 to 5. So as a flight attendant, you kind of work a change in schedule all the time. Sometimes you work morning, sometimes you work night, sometimes you work midday. And I like that change because although sometimes it's difficult to get on a routine, sometimes it just allows you to do different things that you may want to do. So I have a lot of other outside or side hustles that I would like to get into, like YouTube, social media, and this job has definitely allowed me to do that and kind of hone in and focus on that. So I am super grateful for that type of flexibility. Also, just spending time with my family. I feel like I get to see even though I don't go home as much, but if I wanted to, I could go home more often. And in the beginning, I was going home a lot to see my family because I had the time. When I was working a 9 to 5, because I live in another state, I did not have that time. I wasn't able to go visit my family as much. I also like how the flexibility comes from our schedule, how our schedule is set up. So as a flight attendant, we are able to kind of make our own schedule. I've mentioned this as well, but it's not like we get to necessarily pick the days we want to work. We are assigned a schedule, and then if you don't like your schedule, you can change it around as long as our grid is in the green. So if I was given Monday through Friday, just for an example, I could change my schedule to only working Monday, Tuesday, have Wednesday, Thursday off, and then I could work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for an example. So you don't have to necessarily work Monday through Friday. You can work over the weekends. You can work 3 days out of the week. It just all is up to you. And I like how I can really take a vacation every month, honestly, if I wanted to. I can go on a trip every month if I wanted to. That's not realistic but I definitely could do it. If I had the funds to do it, I could do it. So the schedule allows me to do that because I can swap my days and move days around. So if I want to put all of my working days together, then I don't have to worry about necessarily vacation time or time off, because I can stack like 5 off days at a time. Now that will lessen your days in between your working days, but if you're up to working 5 days, then that's perfect, because then you can get all the time off that you need. Now I will say sometimes that will burn you out if you are trying to take trips every month and you working 5-6 days at a time. It could be a lot, but sometimes I don't even fly when I'm working or stack my days 5 and 6 days in a row. So it just all depends on if you have a line or you're on reserve. If you're on reserve, you may get used a lot and still be able to stack your days, and it's not as bad. It's not a lot on you. But if you have a line, you have a little bit more freedom with your schedule. That also depends on what our grid is looking like for the month. If everything looks good in your base, then you are able to drop down, swap, do whatever you want with your schedule. We do have a minimum here at my airline of 60 hours. They dropped it down to 40 hours minimum last month, and I believe they're doing it this month too. But on reserve, you don't get to drop your reserve days. You have to work the amount of days that you are scheduled. So we typically have like 10 to 11 days off a month, and everything else, every other day after that you work. So only 10 to 11 days off. But that still gives you a lot of time and days to play with. So I can at least get 1 week off a month if I wanted to, and if I wanted to stack my days. So like I said, everybody always talks about the benefits, but the benefits can be a little bit misleading, and people don't really share completely about the benefits. So when I came into this job, I thought, oh, I would be flying free. That's all I was like, free flights. No, that's not the case. So in the United States, we fly for free. Anything outside of the United States, you pay taxes. And then if your company has well, I'm gonna speak for my company. My company has contracts and partnerships with other airlines, which allow us to fly on their airline, with those companies. But my priority may be a little lower versus flying with my company, so that's something you got to deal with, and then you got to pay those taxes. So it's not completely free. Also, I have enjoyed being able to give my family the benefits as well. So my mom and dad gets benefits, and then anybody I decide to give my companion passes to and my buddy passes. So we get, I believe, 16 buddy passes, and then I get one companion pass, and the person has to stay on my companion pass for a year. So I can't swap them out, and that's fine. Like, I'm only gonna give my companion pass to somebody that I really trust. My cousin got it recently, so I'm allowing her to use it for the year. I may let her keep it, or I may decide to give it to somebody else, but that person does stay on your companion pass for the year. If I had kids, my kids will also be on my benefits, but because I don't have any children, I don't have anybody to put in the kids section of the companion pass, but my parents are able to use it. The companion pass flies exactly like I fly, so they don't pay any taxes or anything in the States, but outside of the States they pay taxes. My parents pay taxes no matter what, so they pay taxes in the States, and they have to pay taxes if they fly international. So that was something that I felt like coming into this I didn't really understand as well, because I thought my parents will fly just like I fly, but they don't. So only you and your companion pass have free flying within the United States. Let me tell you, paying taxes versus paying for a regular flight, I would take that any day, and I believe my parents are truly grateful for that as well. So I'm glad that I've been able to give them those benefits. So I'm definitely grateful for that, because, you know, of course I could buy them a flight if I had the money, but just being able to give somebody something and letting them use it as much as they want, I believe that that's just awesome, and I'm truly grateful for that. So like I mentioned earlier, I was working in mental health and working with people, and I had my degree in psychology. So ultimately that was my goal, to kind of work with people, and I feel like in a sense I'm still being able to do that. So I'm just doing it in a different way. I'm still serving my community, still giving back, still working, even though I'm being paid, but I am giving back to my community and serving. And I feel like I may not be a therapist or anything like that, but trust me, we are always talking, counseling people. You don't know what you may come across. I have had passengers crying on the plane, upset over a boyfriend, over a family member passing. So you may definitely be a therapist while you are working on the plane or playing some type of other role. So all your background, your educational background could definitely be helpful in this position, whether you're a nurse, a doctor, anything coming into this field. I'm sure you will use those skills. So I feel like I'm still kind of getting a little bit of being able to use a little bit of what I went to school for. And I really enjoy talking, meeting different people. I had the opportunity of not only working with, but meeting Omarion while I was working one day on the plane. I met Ashanti. I actually took a picture with her. I'll insert it here. I was standing in the Huntsville airport, and she was in front of me ordering her food, and I heard her speak, and I was like, oh my God, I know that voice. And so she turned around to me, and I was like, oh my God, it's Ashanti. And I got super excited, and her security guard was like, no, like stopping me before I could approach her. But she came, and she was open to talking to me and speaking, and she allowed me to take a picture with her. So that was fun, and it was a great experience. I would have never met Ashanti if I wasn't a flight attendant. Not that way anyway, but you know, that was fun. And I've also flown with some of my family members. I'll insert that picture here as well. Randomly ran into one of my cousins while I was working a Huntsville flight again. Actually, it's crazy. But those are just a few things I feel like generally I enjoy about this job. And like I said, I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity. I don't know if I see myself doing this forever, but I am going to indulge in just hanging there as long as I can and get the most out of this job that I can while I'm here. So other things that I have definitely considered doing while I have been working with the airlines, I consider being a pilot. I'm not sure if I want to do that. And I'll say I'm not sure if I want to do that because it's just, being a pilot comes with a lot. Like, it's a lot of schooling. It's a whole process. And like I said, I don't know if I want to work this type of job forever or how long I want to do it. I do love aviation. I have come to love aviation, and I love the scheduling, and pilot schedules work just as flight attendants do. They just make more money than we do. But that's definitely a route I consider going, because I would like to stay in aviation but make more money. But we'll see. I'm not sure about that. Also, I have considered being a check flight. So with my company, we have this thing called check flight attendant, where you are kind of like the person that puts the final stamp on the flight attendant before they go and start flying on their own. So once you finish your ground school training, you will have to do something called an IOE, and you are out with another flight attendant for about, I would say, like maybe 2 or 3 days. It just depends on how long you take to complete everything. And then they make sure they go through everything. They make sure you know what you're doing. They watch you. They kind of have to sign off on your stuff or whatever. After you finish your trip, then you are able to start your flying. So that's another position that I could do and still fly. So that's something that I would consider. It comes with more money. I can still fly. I get paid more, and I'm still just flying. So that's definitely something that I have considered. Also, I have thought about getting into like management or something like that. So y'all, the whole point of this whole thing, if you haven't noticed, is the pay. So that's one thing that I don't like, but we'll get into it later. So the reason why I have considered doing some of these positions is because of the pay. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all and let y'all know the truth, because I feel like there's a lot of things that people don't tell, they don't talk about going into this job, and you should know everything. You should know everything before getting into this, because it may or may not be for you. If I can help you decide or kind of learn about the ins and outs of the job, then that's what I want to do, and I want to be completely honest about it. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Let me know down in the comments if you have any other questions, if I don't touch or cover something exactly or specific that you want me to mention, and I would definitely get back to your question. So yeah, I've definitely considered management, but management is more like a 9-to-5 role. So I don't know if I want to do that, because I don't think I could fly doing that. And I'm really not ready to give up flying, y'all. So I would like to do something where I can do it a few days out of the week, but still fly. I've also considered recruiting. Recruiting allows you to still fly and still work as a flight attendant and still work in the office. So those are actually some other things you guys can apply to if you want to get into aviation. They get the same benefits we do. You still work, as long as you work directly for the airlines, you still get those same benefits. So if you don't want to be a flight attendant, those are some things that you could do. They make more money than we make. They get paid like a 9-to-5 job gets paid, but you know, I don't believe they have the freedom of schedule like we do. So those are just some things to think about. But like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna make any of those transitions, but those are just some things that I consider because the pay. So I'm gonna get into what I don't like, and pay is definitely gonna be the top of the list. Number one, I hate our pay. We are not paid the way that we should be paid, honestly. It's just the truth. And that's something that you definitely have to consider if you get into this job. And what I will say is, I started out better than a lot of people said that I would. So when I first started being a flight attendant, when I came into the position, they were giving out bonuses. And I believe it was like a $1,500, like $1,500 or something. I can't remember exactly how much the bonus was, but they had just gave us a pay raise and they were giving bonuses. So from like June to like August, September, I was fine. I was doing good, and I made a lot more money than I'm making now, and I made a lot more money because I was working and I was getting bonuses. I think they were doing like a summer bonus, and then they were doing a bonus if you just came on with the company. So I was doing better than what a lot of flight attendants were saying I was gonna do, and I was good. Like I said, because they had just raised our pay when we started, and they raised it to like 27 something. That's what I get paid now. I won't get a raise until my 3rd year mark. So that's one good thing that I was grateful for as well. They paid through training, so I didn't really have to worry about how I was gonna get money for different things. They were paying us, but the pay is still not what we need it to be. We should definitely be paid for all the time that we are in the airport, and I think that is really the whole downfall about this job. It's really nothing else and maybe the scheduling sometimes, how they can just use us at the drop of a dime when they feel like it, but I feel like those are the two things that everybody pretty much has an issue with. I'm only paid for the time that I'm flying. So I get paid 27 something an hour, but if I only work 2 flight hours, then I only get paid for 2 hours. So that's not a whole lot of money. And then we get our per diem. I believe our per diem is either $2 or 1 something. I don't even really keep up with it, but I don't like that either. Like the per diem is actually pretty good, so I can't even complain about that, and it really helps your check a lot. But if you don't fly, you don't get the per diem. So I know you guys hear me saying like I'm on short call, I'm sitting at home not working. I don't make as much money as I make if I was flying from when I'm sitting at home. When I sit at home, if I sit at home for a whole month and I don't work, I don't go on hot reserve, I don't go out for anything with the airlines, my check is very small. So we get paid twice a month, on the 5th and I think the 21st. And the first check is always like 800 and something. And then if I don't work at all, like nothing, I get my guaranteed 75 hours a month, but then my second check is only like $900. If that, it might be a little less because I get insurance and stuff taken out of my paycheck. So that's something you got to think about. Like if you need to have a pretty good income, you need to go to work. Unless you have a second job or something where you can make some extra money, sitting at home is not the answer. You need to work a little bit throughout the month. Pick up some trips or do something. Another thing that I failed to mention earlier about the things that I like about the job are benefits like our insurance and our other like benefits like rental cars and hotel stays and stuff like that. We get pretty good discounts on our hotels, and also it's not the best discount all the time. You have to be flexible with your days, but the rental cars are fairly cheap when we need them, and you can get other little incentives like tickets, movie tickets, and all different type of stuff in the portal that we use. So that's another part of the benefits that I forgot to mention. And then there's this program that we have called Active and Fit that allows you to go to any gym that you want to go to. I think it's like $40 a month, and I like that. I haven't used it yet, but I probably will sign up for it this year. Last year I really wasn't working out like that, but I'm definitely considering signing up for it now. The only reason why I probably wouldn't sign up for it is because most of the hotels that we go to have gyms. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is it worth having? Because even at home, I don't live around that many well-known gyms. So for the Active and Fit to benefit you, I think you need to live in a place where you have a lot of options for the type of gyms you can go to. Also, we have this thing called Doctors on Demand. It's a part of our insurance, or depending on the insurance package you get, you can call a doctor from wherever you are. So if I'm on a layover and I get sick or something, I need some medicine sit in, or something happens to me, I can call a doctor right away on my layover while I'm working, and get what I need. So that's definitely another benefit of this job that I really like. But back to the things that I don't like. So like I said, the pay. I want to make sure that I broke it down the way so that you guys can understand it. We are paid for flight time, per diem, which is rolling hours over your trip. So when you leave your base and until you come back, you're paid between $1 to $2 per hour. So that money adds up and it actually helps out your check a lot. So flight time, per diem, and I believe any overages, like if you go over the amount of hours you're allowed to work on reserve, or if you have a line, if you work so many hours, that's the stuff that you are paid for. My companies, I know some companies have like things you could be paid for, like language, a destination, stuff like that. We don't really have that since we don't really fly outside the country much, or they don't really offer that. So those are really the main ways that we get paid. So I also don't like our reserve hours. I don't like how the amount of hours we have to sit on reserve. So on short call, I am on reserve from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. at night. So they can call me anytime throughout that time, throughout the day. When I sit airport standby or hot reserve sitting at the airport, I can sit for 8 hours. You don't always necessarily sit for 8 hours. Sometimes it could be 4 hours, sometimes it's 6. But regardless, it's either 8 hours or less. And for hot reserve, you are only paid for 4 hours. Then for short call, I guess short call is kind of included into your 75 hours for the month. So you really aren't paid anything extra for short call unless you get a trip and then they pay you per diem. So it kind of just takes up your whole day. Short call is kind of annoying. I don't mind sitting short call because I'm able to do stuff at home and do what I have to do. I would actually prefer to sit short call versus hot reserve. I don't like hot reserve. I feel like I should be at the point where if I'm getting called to the airport, I should know that I'm having a trip since I've been here for a year. But that's just not how it works. Like if you are on short call, you could definitely get called for hot reserve. And we also have another reserve called long call. And long call is a 12-hour call out. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but short call is a 2-hour call out. So long call, they have to give you 12 hours, and you don't get used for hot reserve on long call. But because there's so many senior people in Charlotte, I cannot hold long call, so I still haven't been able to get it. A few people that was in my graduating class, they were able to get long call like last month and the month before that, but I didn't really bid for it, honestly. But when I did bid for it, I didn't get it. So I feel like I'm still not senior enough to get long call. But hopefully that will change within this next year, that I'm either able to get a line or at least hold long call in one of the bases, because I am so over reserve. When I used to hear flight attendants say, oh, we hate reserve, you're not gonna like reserve, reserve is a rough period, I didn't really understand it. And it's really not difficult, because honestly, I don't get overworked on short call, and I actually don't mind short call. What bothers me is because I'm a commuter and I hate going to the airport just for hot reserve. That's really the worst part about it. And the fact that they can randomly call me right on the dot at 2 hours and now I gotta rush myself to the airport. That's really the worst part about short call. But other than that, like the past 2 months, I haven't really worked. I have my second job, so I was able to do that or do other stuff that I wanted to do during the day within means, because I have to always remember that I'm on call. But I guess it just depends on you. Like sometimes I get annoyed because I'm like, I could be doing this, this, and this, but I gotta stay at home because I'm on call. So it just depends on the person. If you like long call, you might like short call, or you might prefer to have a line. There are some line holders that actually bid for short call because they don't want to work, and they're so senior to where they won't get calls, so they rather get short call because yeah, it's just easier. We can't completely drop down on, with the line, you can't completely get rid of all of your trips for the month. You have to work at least 60 hours, 40 hours if they drop it to 40. And some line holders just don't want to work. They want to work as less as possible, so they do give up their line. Another thing that I have found out that I do not like is how my company handles our sick time. So we accrue 3 hours and some change per pay period, which is already not much. So when you call out sick, or even if you take a personal leave day, if you take medical sick leave, anything, if you have the time, they're gonna automatically use your time. They don't ask you if you want to take your time away or nothing. They automatically take it, and I really hate that. At my last job, I guess that's one thing that I like. It's our time. It was our sick time. We work for that time, so we are kind of responsible for how it's spread out over the year. You know, you have a little bit more control. But with the airlines, or with my company, it's not like that. They will automatically take your sick time, whether you want to use it or not. They don't really give you an option. Another thing for me that really gets me is that we can be assigned on reserve a trip. And like, we could get to the last day of our trip, or even whatever time they feel like adjusting us. Scheduling can automatically just change your trip. They don't have to ask you any questions. As long as you're not going over your duty period or anything like that, they can change your schedule on reserve any type of way. So sometimes I start my day out thinking I only have 1 flight for the day, and then by 12 o'clock I got like 3 or 4 more. We can only work up to 5 flights in a day, but I've definitely worked 5 flights, but it's just it's a lot. It's a lot working 5 flights in a day. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Even when they're short flights, it's just a lot. It really takes a toll on your body, and I hate doing it. It's really tiring. And especially for me, I have to do that, work 5 flights, and then I have to drive home. I know y'all hear me saying about driving and commuting and all of that jazz, and you gotta really decide what type of person you are, figure what type of person you are before getting in a job like this, because commuting is not for the weak. Even me, the fact that I'm close enough to drive, it's still a headache. So if that's not something that you want to deal with, definitely don't do it. Go ahead and move in base. I'm considering moving in base, but I just haven't made the move yet. But decide what type of person you are. If you're not going to be able to be on time, if you are not going to be able to have your stuff ready, do what you're supposed to do so that you can get to where you gotta go in a timely manner, then commuting probably is not for you. Now, I will say, when you commute by the airlines, like you fly into work, it's easier and you're actually a little bit more covered versus me driving into work, because they feel like I should have enough time to get there. But actually, when you fly into work with my company, we are covered by what we call the commuter clause. So you have to have had an option to take 2 flights, an opportunity to take 2 flights before your working time to get you to your base, and that will cover you. If you can't catch your flight, like if one of those flights are full, then you're covered by that clause, and you won't receive any points or anything like that. But say for instance, if you only gave yourself enough time to take 1 flight to get to work, and then you miss that flight, you will get in trouble because you're supposed to have 2. But I do not like, I absolutely hate the fact that they can just change our schedule. And then sometimes, and I know this is like a benefit of being a line holder, so I get it. My friends have line holders and they do it, so I understand. I probably would do it too, but just know on reserve, if a line holder calls out and they don't want to work a turn, or they don't want to work a day, and then scheduling calls you in to work their trip or that day for them, they don't necessarily tell you, oh, this trip is just for the day, and then you go back home, because they may not know what the line holder is planning to do. And sometimes line holders, they will drop a day or drop a turn just so they can pick it back up once you get back, because they may not want to work that specific flight or something. And then you already commuted all the way into work, you gotta work the one flight, but you turn around and going right back home. It's just annoying because the line holder kind of has more say so in the situation, so you're almost at their will. Like it's just crazy. And then sometimes, say for instance, like if it's weather or something like that, they could tell say for instance, if it's weather or something like that, they could cancel your flight. You could be going home. You could think, oh, I have a whole 4-day, but then something happens where they have to take you off the trip, and now they've already put another crew on the trip. Now you're not getting paid for what you were going to get paid. So it's just a lot, because if they take you off a schedule, or if they pull you off of a trip, you're not paid for the remainder of the trip on reserve. Line holders, if anything happens with their trip, they're still guaranteed to be paid regardless. As long as it's not on them, it's not their fault, they're still paid. So that's another benefit of being a line holder, and I cannot wait, because you don't know how many times I drove all the way to work, thought I was doing a whole 4-day, and ended up only working 1 day. Now I've wasted gas, I've done all that, and I'm not even getting paid for the rest of my trip. So when you are on reserve, you are kind of on scheduler's dime. Like they can push and pull, move you around like they feel like it, and it's just what it is. Now this is just a regional thing for sure. This is definitely just a regional thing, and it doesn't necessarily bother me, but I'm gonna mention it because I know people may not know. I didn't know when I first started the difference between regional, mainline, all of that stuff. But I'll say this here: if going to same places over and over is gonna bother you, don't fly mainline. Don't fly regional. I'm sorry. Don't fly regional, because if it's repetitive, I've been to Huntsville so many times. I know I always talk about Huntsville, but that's just what it is. I've been to Huntsville so many times. I've been here, Allentown, so many times. I'm actually on the trip right now, y'all. But I've been the same places so many times. So if that repetitiveness, y'all know what I mean. If that's gonna bother you, then definitely go mainline. You're gonna need to go somewhere where you're gonna have more opportunity to fly, maybe international, or even go more destinations, because we don't even hit California or none of that. We go from like Texas to New York, but we stay on the East Coast pretty much, and we go a little bit like Texas, New Orleans, but we don't go to California. Oh my God, we don't go to California, none of that. Like, we don't do none of that flying. So if you gonna be tired of going to these smaller airports, pretty boring destinations, go mainline, don't do regional. Personally, would I like to go to, I don't know, California, or would I like to go to Jamaica? Yes, of course I would. I would love to overnight there. But I mean, you just got to figure out what's important to you. I know I can go to those places on my own, so it don't necessarily bother me. I wouldn't mind going mainline. Like, that's the huge question. When you come into aviation, you're going to see, if you go work for a regional, that's what everybody, that's like the talk of regional. Are you going to go mainline? Do you think you're going to go mainline? Are you going to consider going mainline? Like, that's the question. I've gotten that question so many times. But honestly, I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't know. I'm not, never say never, I don't know. But I don't think, as of right now, I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm comfortable here. I feel like I'm going to get a line soon, or a long haul soon. And y'all know my goal is to move abroad. So, I mean, I feel like it's smart for me to stay here and not necessarily move. So if you need to work those long flights, or you want to work those long flights, you want to work the bigger planes, you want to go all over the world, then regional is not the place for you. Don't even stop. Don't even start here. Maybe it's a starting point if you want to get your feet wet, see if you like it. But honestly, don't start with regional, because I feel like if you start with regional, you're going to get stuck. Because regional can make you feel real comfortable. It's like a small little community, little small company. Everybody know everybody. You get real comfortable in how relaxed and chilled the company is, because it's not as big as one of the big three. So it just, I would suggest you just go ahead and go full on and go mainline if that's really what you want to do, because I just think that starting here, you have something to compare it to. Now you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know if I want to be on the plane for all that time. I don't know if I want to deal with hundreds of people. Like, you gonna have something to compare it to. But if you go ahead and jump right in the mainline, you won't have that to think about, because you don't know what working a short flight is like. You don't know what working with only one other flight attendant is like. That's another pro of regional, for sure. Working only with one person and then your two pilots, because child, the drama, the things I hear about on mainline is something else. And I'm so grateful that I've had my fair share of drama with regional flight attendants, but I know it's more that comes with mainline and working with like 4 or 5 other people. So you definitely gotta know what's best for you. And yeah, that's that. But I'm so grateful for this opportunity so far. I'm so grateful that, you know, I have had the experience. I'm almost 2 years in May, and I'm just really excited about what this year has to bring me next. Like I said, I don't plan on being a flight attendant forever, but we will see what happens. I don't know how things are gonna go, but we'll see. Maybe I will go mainline. Who knows? So yeah, I just wanted to go over that, share with y'all my experiences over the last year, the pros, the cons, the things I don't like what I'm considering doing next if I decide to stay in aviation but make a career change. And also, like, hopefully that gave y'all some ideas of things that y'all could do if y'all don't necessarily want to be a flight attendant. I know, I'll say this one more time, like, I didn't do my research before coming into this career, and I feel like you are really making a bad move if you don't do that. Do your research. Figure out where companies are based. Figure out their reserve times, how long you may be on reserve. Join Facebook groups. Talk to people that you can talk to. When you go in your interview, ask a lot of questions. Just really dive deep into aviation if you are considering making this lifestyle change. It can be really difficult if you're not prepared. It could be or it could be. It just depends on the situation. Like I said, I didn't prepare and it wasn't necessarily difficult for me, but I wish I would have been a little bit more prepared before I started. But I don't want you to fall on the latter side of things and have a bad experience and then you like, I'm just over being a flight attendant when this is really something that you wanted to do. So definitely prepare yourself for that. But I'm not gonna ramble anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and close out this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions specifically. I will try to answer them. I hope this video was helpful. I definitely hope that I touched on and explained things well, because I know I stumble and talk over my words a lot, but y'all just bear with me. But for sure, I hope this was helpful. But that is everything that I have today for you. That's everything I have to say and share about my journey so far as a flight attendant. So if you have enjoyed this video, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and turn that notification bell on so you don't miss anything that I post. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.